Nate Bargatze.
It's a lot to have two dogs, because you got to open the back door and let two dogs out.
Big Dumb Eyes World Tour, Casey's Center, Friday, April 24th. Tickets available at natebargatze.com.
Turnpike Troubadours are coming to Des Moines.
Picking up barges on a long hot summer day. Good Lord.
Wild America Tour. Friday, February 20th at Horizon Event Center. With special guest Randy Rogers Band. A masterful live show like no other. Turnpike Troubadours.
Gin and smoke and light.
On sale now through Ticketmaster. Produced by Mammoth.
Hey, it's Murph and Andy, and we love talking sports and more.
Catch us live at 1 o'clock every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday right here on Iowa Everywhere.
And if you miss it, just go to iowaeverywhere.com. You can watch or listen there or wherever you find your podcasts.
Jake Brend and Derek Duke break down everything you need to know throughout the Big 12. This is Bigger Than 12, presented by WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. From the Channel Seed Studios, this is Bigger Than 12 on Iowa Everywhere.
You're dang right, it's Bigger Than 12. Bigger Than 12 here on Sunday, November 16th in the Channel Seed Studios.
I think that intro is going to take my ears off with Turnpike Troubadours.
Turnpike Troubadours is going to be taking your ears off on February 20th.
That is true.
You're going to be there. Most likely.
I hope so. I haven't really figured that out yet, but I'm thinking yes.
Well, you're not going to be the only one there.
I'm not.
Let's just do it off the top of the show. Turnpike Troubadours, we've got some winners for our giveaway. 5 winners. You 5 that I'm about to name are going to Turnpike Troubadours at the Horizon Event Center on Friday, February 20th in Des Moines, Iowa. Justin Eckernacht, you're going. Mike Bear, Terry Matney, Jennifer Hayes, and Debbie Pierce, congratulations. You guys are all going to Turnpike Troubadours for free. You will receive an email from biggerthan12@gmail.com to claim your tickets and check out the next step. So thanks for everyone who participated in the giveaway. And if you didn't win the giveaway, you can still go to ticketmaster.com and secure yourselves a spot for the Turnpike Troubadours with the Randy Rogers Band on February 20th.
Let's go. That's going to be a great show. There. That is going to be a fantastic show. I'm if I don't go, I'm going to be super jealous of everybody going. So I might have to go to that one.
Well, you better make it. I'll be very disappointed. You should go to WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. Start budgeting a little bit better so you can make a trip up to Iowa this February. I know.
And I should give him a call.
So should all of our listeners. It's a really good time of the year to get all your finances in check. You're about to spend a ton of money over the holidays for Thanksgiving, buying presents for Christmas. You better be buying a bunch of Chris Williams' book, The Fanatic. And that costs a lot of money. So make sure that you've got all your finances in right with WealthCharter Retirement Planning and Tax. All jokes aside, this is a really good time of the year because they don't just handle your 401k, trust funds, all that stuff. They also handle taxes, and it's best to just get ahead of that right now. They know all the ins and outs of the weird laws that guys like me and you can't comprehend. So go to Tim Hawkins at WealthCharter Retirement Planning, just WealthCharterRetirement.com and set up an appointment at their Ankeny office. Thanks to Tim Hawkins and his team for bringing us Bigger Than 12 every Sunday afternoon. We've got an interesting show today. It's not a ton of storylines that I guess were too big of a surprise coming out of Saturday's slate, but overall probably just a good day for the Big 12. BYU just crushes TCU. Utah does the same in Waco. Cincinnati gets upset. Texas Tech, they did Texas Tech things. Arizona State survives at home. Oklahoma State gives EMA a little scare. We'll do our random Big 12 quarterback. Top 5 power rankings brought to you by Whiskey River, Iowa Trivia, Big 12 Survivor. And we'll close with some game picks. And, of course, we'll have all of our superlatives brought to you by Carbless, Freedom Tire, Monster, The Beast. let's start in Provo as TCU just is annihilated by BYU. This game was over from the jump. BYU ran all over. They threw all over TCU, and they really made it really difficult. I know TCU ended up scoring 13 points, but it was ugly. This is a statement game for BYU coming off their loss in Lubbock. What'd you see from the Cougs in Provo?
I always like to call it in a battle between the Mormons and the Christians. The Mormons come out on top. This was a much-needed bounce-back game for BYU. Defensively, they were outstanding. They made Josh Hoover look so bad and shut down the run game. And how about this? I looked this up last night. They held TCU to just 1 for 10 on third down. That may be the lowest third down conversion rate I have seen in a Big 12 game this season. Maybe unless, of course, you're watching Oklahoma State play football. Then you throw in Bear Bachmeier, LJ Martin on offense, who just took it right to TCU's defense. They held the ball for 36-plus minutes in this game and really just kind of controlled the ball for 4 quarters. I think just after watching that, it's safe to say BYU was just clearly the better team on Saturday night, and it wasn't even close. And as for TCU, I talked about them last week. They are on a downward spiral. They look sloppy again between the mistakes, the drop passes, the penalties, the bad coaching decisions. It's going to be a long month for them. I mean, late in that game, I watched that game to the very end, the very last possession. Late in that game, TCU had a 3rd and short. And you know what happened? A failed QB sneak. Sonny Dykes calls timeout. They have back-to-back false start penalties. Back-to-back false start penalties after a timeout. And then on 4th down, Josh Hoover gets sacked. That sequence of events pretty much sums up the last few games for TCU.
This team, so disappointing. And I'll get into it in just a second with my Freedom Tire who needs a fix. But so, you know how I operate on bye weeks, or if Iowa State's got a road game. I don't leave my couch from 11 a.m. to 2 a.m. Like, I just watch football. And usually I'm looking forward to these 9 o'clock games. And I just had a gut feeling yesterday that BYU was going to smoke them. And so I made the decision, like, you know what? I'm going to go hang with my buddy Scott Zipker. We watched the fights all night. I had this game up on my phone. I went back and rewatched it Sunday morning. And I made the right decision. I made the right decision to go watch a great UFC card because TCU is dead. They're completely dead. And this is a team that needs to hit up Freedom Tire because they're my who needs a fix. Freedom Tire, locations all across central Iowa, Altoona, Ames, Des Moines, West Des Moines, and Urbandale. Visit freedomtire.com for more information. Go and get your tires winterized, get your car all good to go for the winter. They handle everything at Freedom Tire. They're a great sponsor of what we do here. TCU, of all the disappointing seasons in this conference, there's Kansas State, there's Iowa State, there's TCU. I would make the argument that TCU's maybe at the top of that list. When you factor in how bad their offense has been the last 2 games, when they were still, like, they were not dead by any means. Before Iowa State came to town, a struggling Iowa State team that was banged up. Before they came to town, TCU was not completely out of the picture. They still mostly controlled their own destiny, and they lay an egg last week against an Iowa State defense that you give them credit for playing as hard as they did and the amount of second and third stringers that stepped up. You have to put up more than 17 points on them. And then you go to Provo, and it's the opposite of complimentary football. Your defense gets gashed. Your offense can't hang with BYU. In a game that, coming into this year, I would say, yeah, TCU can get into a shootout with anybody. And it doesn't seem like they can right now. I don't know who that falls on, if that falls on Josh Hoover, if there's a lingering injury that he's dealing with, or if this falls on Sonny Dykes maybe just being a mediocre football coach. Maybe that's all it is. And we've talked about it at length the last 2 seasons. How much was Max Duggan? Like, was he TCU football And the further and further we get to TCU's Cinderella run to the national championship a few years ago, the more and more it seems like that was lightning in a bottle, and it's not coming back because Sonny Dykes clearly doesn't have control over this football program, and they are not hitting the ceiling that they should when you factor in who they've got at quarterback, the weapons they've got on the outside, the amount of resources they have. Just a disappointing season for TCU.
I said this last week. I think they're just on a spiral. I think they're going to lose out and finish 6-6. I truly believe that after watching this team the last couple of weeks. And on Saturday night, you saw that. I don't know if you saw the interaction with Josh Hoover and Eric McAllister. They were kind of getting into it after each other on the sidelines there, and it just kind of speaks volumes to me about how broken this team looks right now. They do not look like a complete football team at all. The effort isn't there. The coaching isn't there. It's just not working in Fort Worth, and you're right. The further we get away from that Max Duggan magical season a few years ago, I mean, the more and more I see just problem after problem. It really feels like nothing has went right since they played that game against Georgia a few years back. Like nothing. That game was terrible, and then everything after that up to this point has not been good. So I don't know. I think TCU is going to have a serious decision to make at the end of the year if they want to keep Sonny Dykes or if they want to let him go. I mean, we know the coaching market is going to be really, really tough this year because there's so many jobs open. So I don't know who TCU is going to hire if they're willing to go and fire him, but I don't know. They're going to have a tough decision at the end of the year.
My gut tells me this is a staff overhaul. Like, go change both coordinators, new position coaches, one last go at it. That's my gut. And a lot of that comes down to, like what you said, the coaching market this year is unbelievable. The amount of jobs that are open, the amount of jobs that most would consider high profile. Where's TCU fall in that pecking order? Like, yeah, they're probably ahead of Arkansas. Are they ahead of Auburn? I don't know. And if you're not ahead of Auburn, you're what, 7th, 8th on the list? You're going to get the 7th or 8th best candidate unless you have a name that has a tie to TCU that you know you can get, that you think would be a really good hire, then you do it. But otherwise, it just seems like a massive risk to move on this offseason, even though it might have to be the decision that's made, the way this program's trending.
I don't think it would hurt for them to look about 45 miles north up the road in North Texas and see if Eric Morris is willing to come down and take over, because I don't know. I think this program could definitely use a shot in the arm, some life or something, because right now it just feels dead.
Yeah, it all changed that Friday night game against Arizona State. They looked like one of the 3 or 4 best teams in the Big 12 for that first half when they were putting it on Arizona State, and everything collapsed after that. And since then, their most signature win is against Baylor, who we're going to get into in a second, and that game was almost the most colossal collapse of the season. So, until South Carolina on Saturday. But it hasn't been a pretty season for TCU. And don't get me wrong, we'll give credit to BYU. We're going to move on to the Utah-Baylor game, though, and then we're going to get into more of a college football playoff discussion, and that's where we'll mostly delve into what BYU did. They just kind of looked like the team that we've seen all year on Saturday, and super impressive out of Kalani Sitake's squad. Utah does pretty much the same to Baylor, runs all over them. I don't know if I've seen a Big 12 team like Baylor look more like an FCS program than they did yesterday. I mean, the offensive line for Utah was creating unbelievable holes all game. They have 2 different 100-yard rushers. Dampier didn't even run that wild.
No.
And Utah still ends up running for 380 yards. Absolute domination in Waco. And I'm guessing we're going to have a pretty similar conversation to what we just had about Sonny Dykes, about Dave Aranda.
If you go to Waco, Texas right now, you'll still see Utah running all over Baylor. I don't think Chip and Joanna Gaines could even fix Baylor's issues right now because they're just that damn broken. I mean, Utah ran, I couldn't believe, 380 yards. 380 yards on the ground. Bird Flicklin had 2 incredible runs. Maybe one of them was the run of the year, maybe in the Big 12. Utah, as you mentioned, was the more physical team up front. They ate Baylor's lunch, dinner, and dessert on Saturday night, and that's why I think I'm going to focus here on Utah being my carbless refreshing take of the week here. I mean, Utah completed 8 passes. 8 passes. They win by 27 on the road. I don't even think they needed to complete 1 pass, and they still would have won by 3 scores. I mean, you can say what you want about Utah not making the Big 12 championship game. After watching it, like, they are a playoff team in my eyes.
Yes.
And I hope the committee was watching that game. I hope the committee realizes that. And they're sitting at, 13 right now. Texas went down this weekend against Georgia in pretty ugly fashion. So, I mean, Utah should slide into the top 12 at the very least on Tuesday night. They have to move up at least 1 or 2 spots.
That is very refreshing. And we'll get into our playoff discussion, but I agree with you. Utah, eye test has to matter. There's so many different ways to measure success in college football. There is the physical eye test. Utah passes that. There's the resume, in which they probably don't have the best resume, but they've still blown out Cincinnati, blown out Arizona State. Yes, there was no Sam Leavitt that day. But their 2 losses are to other top 10 teams in my eyes. And if you're going to have that conversation about other teams, you've got to have that conversation about Utah. And honestly, I think Utah is the rare Big 12 program that benefits from perception. Like, I think because they've been so consistent and so good for 2 decades now, I do think they benefit from perception a little bit. And I don't worry about them in a graphic matchup with Vanderbilt or with Tennessee as much as I would worry if it's Iowa State or if it's Baylor or Cincinnati going up against those teams. So I do think that works out. We'll talk more playoff, but we got to talk Baylor. Is this the end of the line for our good friend Dave Aranda?
I have so much I want to say about Baylor. I'll just let it go because, I mean, for Baylor, that was just a shit performance.
They're your Freedom Tire Who Needs a Fix, correct?
They are. They're going to be my focus for my Freedom Tire Who Needs a Fix. And that's right. I don't normally double up on one game, but I think I have to after this one.
It was necessary.
That did not look like a team on Saturday with its head coach's job on the line. The defense was so bad. Sawyer Robinson at this point has fully regressed, and there's little to no hope in sight. I mean, just look at the last few days for Baylor. Can it get any worse? Like, Mack Rhodes, the AD's on leave, and it's not even for putting his hands on a coach.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's for personal reasons, which you can probably narrow it down to one thing. And Dave Aranda just shitting the bed worse than normal. Their defense is historically bad this season for a so-called defensive coach. I mean, his defenses have been hot garbage for 3 years now. I've got some stats here, Jake. In their 7 games against Power 4 teams, they have given up 34 points or more in 6 of those games. And if you go back to their home games, all the way back against to 2022 against Power 4 schools, they are 6-13. And now Aranda is 36-35 overall, 24-28 in Big 12 play. Like, why does he have a job? If the AD goes, then Dave Aranda should too. Baylor they need a fresh start. It just feels so stale in Waco, and you know it, I know it, you know it, Aiden knows it, Aiden's dog probably knows it, and the people listening to this show know that Dave Aranda is a dead man walking. I don't know what we're waiting on at this point. The AD is going to be, Mack Rhodes is not coming back. People need to realize that. And if you're going to have Mack Rhodes gone, then why not just get rid of Dave Aranda? At least the new AD coming in can have a fresh start, because there's no way a new AD is going to come in and keep Dave Aranda. That's just not going to happen. The school president needs to step in too.
Yeah, it's the same story that we've had with Baylor year in, year out. Last year, they start the season terribly. They lose that Hail Mary game in Colorado. They lose to Iowa State. Everybody counts them out. They're dead. What do? They rattle off 6 in a row to end the season. They're the hottest team, one of the hottest teams in the Big 12. They return so much talent they're coming into this year. But you and I, we both were on record on this show and saying, I don't expect them to live up to expectations, because when do they live up to expectations? They haven't done it under Dave Aranda. His best seasons have always come when nobody expects anything, when they're not backs against the wall, but just when they're counted out. And that's going to continue. Next year, I guarantee if he comes back, which at this point I don't think is happening, I guarantee they'll be picked 10th or 11th or something like that. And they'll jump up and shock people, go win 8 games, and build momentum to go into 2027. And then they're going to be picked highly again, and then they're going to disappoint. It's just going to be an endless cycle, and I have no reason to believe that it's going to end. I completely agree with you. They got to move on from Aranda. They have to.
And I feel sorry for the whoever comes in. I mean, it's not going to be easy. You look at their roster. There's going to be a lot of turnover on that roster. I don't think Sawyer Robinson would stay. I think he's got one more year left of eligibility, but I don't see him sticking around. And then their top receivers, they're gone. Mm-hmm. Your so-called top defenders defensively, they're going to be, I mean, it's going to be a full-on transition for whoever comes in and tries to fix up this mess. So I don't know. If the new coach came in, I don't think they'd have a chance in hell making a bowl game next year. But that's the risk you're going to have to take, because it obviously ain't working with Dave Aranda. We've done this for years now. I'm sick of watching it. And I don't know if you're a Baylor fan or not, but it's not fun to watch either.
Let's talk playoffs. The Big 12 is in a good spot right now. They're still not in a great spot. They had a couple chips fall their way on Saturday. They're going to need a couple more. But if we look at the college football playoff rankings from last week, BYU 12, Utah 13. At this point, in order to get 2 teams, those teams are going to have to be in the top 10. So on Saturday, Alabama at 4 loses. It'll be interesting to see where they drop. And Texas, which was at 10, they'll certainly drop behind them. So right now what we're looking at is BYU at the very worst is going to be 11th on Tuesday, and Utah will be 12th. That could go up a spot if they decide to jump, or if they decide to put Alabama behind them. But what we're looking at right now is, short of an upset from Notre Dame or anything like that, the best case scenario for the Big 12 to get 2 teams in is probably going to be Alabama losing the Iron Bowl, unless there's some sort of chaos. Because Texas A&M, they're not going to lose 2 more, unfortunately. I think they play an FCS team next week. Yeah, they
for them.
They play Samford next week. So
that's good.
They play Texas last week. Very worst case scenario, they're going to lose 1 game. Oregon could lose to USC this week. That's another possibility. But right now, it's hard for me to see 3 teams, even though you are just 1 or 2 upsets away from that happening. Because I don't think at this point, unless BYU or Utah lose one of their 2 remaining games, I don't think either of those teams can or should get jumped, just the way things are playing out.
Yeah, and the thing is, with just BYU is going to kind of get the short end of the stick, because if they're going to have to go, they're going to win out, they're going to play for a Big 12 title, and they're going to play Texas Tech, and if they lose, both of their losses are going to be to Texas Tech. And to me, that's a stronger case than what you would have with Alabama losing to Florida State and then losing to Oklahoma at home. So at least BYU's 2 losses would be to probably potentially a top 5 team. So, I mean, to me, they should still be ahead. I just don't see it that way.
I agree, but at the same time, last year, they did set the precedent that you won't fall for losing your conference championship. SMU lost to Clemson, and SMU still got in. So I know the committee changes year to year, all that, but the precedent that the committee set last year, and it wasn't for an SEC team, or it wasn't for it was for an ACC team, which also has some perception issues. And it's not like SMU's some power program. So if we hit that scenario where BYU is 10th and they lose the Big 12 championship game, as long as it's not a massive blowout, I think they would be able to stay in.
I don't know.
But I don't know.
I don't have faith in the committee doing that. I don't see BYU getting much of a bump over the next couple weeks. And the other thing is, too, depending on that championship game, I don't know. I think your best bet may be for Texas Tech to just win out and then Utah win out and try to sneak their way in. But I don't feel confident in that either. So I don't know. At this point, it's still early. We still have some football left to play. Unfortunately, it's cupcake weekend in the SEC.
You know what's inevitable,
teams.
right?
What?
If you look at the ACC right now, it's a total disaster.
Oh, it's a shit show.
You've got 3 one-loss teams: Georgia Tech, Virginia, SMU. They've all got relatively soft schedules to end the season. I would be shocked if any teams outside of that combination of 3 make the ACC championship. Miami, they're sitting at 15th in the latest college football poll. They closed the year with Virginia Tech and Pitt. And Pitt, who was just ranked to give Notre Dame a ranked win,
yep,
they're probably going to win out. The argument is 100%, I promise you, going to be that Miami deserves an at-large, and I am telling you now, we are not falling for it. They do not deserve an at-large. Sure, if Utah, BYU, if all those teams lose, maybe you can make the argument. But as of right now, I don't care if Miami goes into Pittsburgh and wins that game by 50. We are not entertaining the discussion of Miami as an at-large. We are just not doing it.
If you can't get into the conference championship game of the ACC this year, you don't belong in the playoff. The ACC, it is so bad this year. It is so bad. I mean, Virginia has the easiest path maybe to get to the championship game. Georgia Tech, they're pretty good, but let's face it, Georgia is going to beat them at the end of the season.
That's another factor.
So I don't see there shouldn't be a team from the ACC that's not playing for the championship game to make the playoff. That's complete bullshit too.
And the no-bid ACC fell out the window this past week, unfortunately.
Because every
Duke's
group of
loss.
6. Yeah, and everybody else just shit in the bed.
But even though the dream of a 0-bid ACC is dead, we are not entertaining a 2-bid ACC. It's just not happening.
No,
they are
that's
getting
not gonna happen.
whoever wins their championship between Georgia Tech, Virginia, SMU. That's their team. End of discussion. No at large.
That should be it.
Then there's the Notre Dame BYU discussion, and you can call me Big 12 bias or whatever. If you give Notre Dame BYU's resume, what are they ranked? 5th?
Probably 5th or 6th, yeah.
They'd be, I guess, probably 7. They'd be right behind Texas Tech because they lost to Texas Tech. You can certainly make the argument that Notre Dame deserves to be where they are. And I think when we talk eye test, they certainly belong in the top 10. No doubt in my mind. My argument, however, though, is if you completely flip those resumes, BYU is still going to be in the same spot, if not lower than they are now, and Notre Dame would be even higher. I think if you're going purely off resume, BYU has to be ahead of Notre Dame, and unfortunately, we're not going to get that. We know how this works.
What is Notre Dame's? I don't even know. I don't see their schedule. What is their best win up to this point? It's USC?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And USC, there's a chance they might not even be ranked after Oregon takes care of them.
Don't get me wrong. This is where I think there has to be a bit of nuance because Notre Dame's resume isn't the greatest. But when I watch them play, I still see a team that belongs in the playoff. It's just a matter, though, of being fair. And if you put them in BYU's shoes and you give them one loss, they are absolutely ranked higher than they are now. And that's messed up. That's where it's broken. It's a broken system. You can manipulate it however you want.
Plus, old people love Notre Dame. So the playoff committee really loves Notre Dame.
I'm mad.
We get ourselves all worked up about the stupid playoff.
Arizona goes into Nippert Stadium and beats Cincinnati.
It's a great game.
How's that for a transition? That was a really good game. And that's going to be my carbless, refreshing take of the week. Carbless premium handcrafted cocktails. So many flavors. So many of them. They're the presenting sponsor of Overthinking. Listen on Tuesdays. I personally like the cranberry. I think a vodka cranberry is about as refreshing of a mixed drink as you're going to find. And you can get that nice and easy in a can. It's going to taste the same every single time. Carbless, hit up your local liquor store, local gas station, all that good stuff. My refreshing take is that sometimes I'm wrong. And I picked Arizona. I don't know exactly where, but it was somewhere near the bottom of the Big 12. I had no faith in Brent Brennan. And frankly, I didn't do my research. I just saw a team last year that I thought had a lot of talent, and they didn't have as much talent as I thought. I fell for the Flash. I fell for Fafita. I fell for McMillan. And I said that team should be a top 5 Big 12 team, and they weren't. What I didn't know was, because Brennan took over so late, he only had so many options in the transfer portal. And really, you had to wipe out his first year. And maybe Brent Brennan is a good coach. And I think he completely has proven that this year. And he proved that on Saturday with a win at Cincinnati in a tough atmosphere against a good team. And I think Brennan is going to be... I think he's going to be a player in this conference for some time. The way that he's built this team kind of with duct tape in his pseudo year one. Like this was his first real year where you can judge him. And I don't think they have the most talent. I don't know if they're a top 10 most talented team in the conference, but they're really well coached. They don't make a ton of mistakes, and they just make plays when it matters. And they picked up a very surprising win in Cincinnati on Saturday. And Brent Brennan is my refreshing take of the week presented by Carbless.
Yeah, I was wrong. I was totally wrong on them too. So I'll be the first one to admit that as well. We just did not see this coming. And you're right. It probably wasn't fair to judge Brennan so harshly after that bad first season. I think now we're starting to get to see the real Brent Brennan coach team, and they're looking really, really good. And I said this on paper, it was not the best game. If you were looking at this past weekend slate, and you're looking at a list of the games, this was probably not going to be high on the list. But I think this ended up being the most entertaining game on the field, and it was decided really by just a few key plays. I thought Noah Fafita looked really good. He threw for almost 300 yards. I feel like I'm saying that every single week. They were great in the run game. Ran for 181 on the ground, and I felt like their offense really just kind of got better as that game went on. And defensively, I think maybe they played their best game of the year. I mean, they hold Cincy to 24, 3 of 12 on third down, and they were able to get off the field when they needed to. And I actually wrote about Arizona last week and talked about the possibility of them winning out and finishing with 9 wins, and I believe that can really happen. So, I mean, hats off to Brent Brennan and his staff for a big road win. Thinking about it, that might be the best win for him at his time in Tucson right now.
I think it is, yeah.
I think it has to be. So hats off to him and his staff. They did an outstanding job, and that is definitely a program. I guess we should really say a state on the rise, because now we have Arizona State as a really good team. Arizona's emerging, so good for the Big 12 to get both of those schools kind of hitting their peak right now. And then for Cincy kind of flipping it over, that was just a back-breaking loss that they can't afford. I mean, you're talking about shakeup in the Big 12 standings. This was the one game that really did it. Defensively, they haven't been great, but offensively, they just looked out of sync, and bad drops. Sorsby was all over the place, and he turned the ball over twice. This is the second game in a row where Cincy really didn't look ready to play, and they went from controlling their own destiny a couple weeks ago to now needing help. And next up is BYU. They're going to host BYU, so good luck with that, because I don't see them winning that game at all.
I think highly of Cincy. And honestly, this is the bigger than 12 bowl of head coaches that we both were very, very low on. Satterfield and Brennan, and they've both had really good years. And to me, this entire game, it still felt like Cincy was going to win. Until about halfway through the fourth quarter. And what happens? Fafita throws it up, and Chris Hudson goes and gets it. That happened so many different times this game, and every time that it felt like Cincinnati had momentum, they were about to get a 3-and-out, they were about to get off the field, Chris Hudson made a play. And that makes Chris Hudson my beast of the week. Beast of the week. About this guy, Chris Hudson, 8 catches, 123 yards, makes him my beast of the week, presented by Monster the Beast. It's a hard seltzer, and it comes in 4 different flavors, 6% alcohol. Find it at your local liquor store. Derek, I heard you had one. Is that right?
I got one right here. I've been drinking it all show long. I'm wired up, man.
Take a sip. Oh, the beast is unleashed. Derek Duke is not my beast of the week. You're a contender.
Oh,
how is it?
Delicious. I'm ready to go. Still got me ready for this show.
You're
today.
wired now. We've still got a lot of show to go, and you are absolutely wired. It's an essential piece of your morning.
It is.
Here on Bigger Than 12.
Breakfast of Champions.
I feel like I don't have much more to say about Chris Hudson other than this was a receiver taking over the game in every big spot. And Fafita, I think he's got his limitations. What he does really well, though, he throws a good jump ball. And all he was doing on Saturday was letting his receivers go and make plays, and Chris Hudson made play after play. And he, in my opinion, was the one that was able to kind of put Cincinnati out of this game. And when Cincy fought back, Hudson made a play and kept the Bearcats out of it. And Arizona picks up their signature win since joining the Big 12 Conference.
Yeah, how many times last year were we talking about other guys needing to step up outside of McMillan? It feels like Arizona just has more weapons this season, so they've done a great job offensively to get some key pieces in, and they're playing I'm telling you, they're playing their best football right now. I mean, there's a couple, you think about that Iowa State game a while back, they could have won that game. Looking back, I don't know. I think there was a chance maybe for this team to win 10 games. I still think they could finish with 9. So that is still a damn
9 in a
good year.
bowl game.
That's a great year for them.
Their rival? Sorry, not their rival. I looked at Arizona State next. We got to talk about Texas Tech and their beatdown of your poor Central Florida Knights. I don't even know what we can say at this point about Texas Tech. Like, we're not going to have an interesting thing to say about them until the Big 12 Championship because they closed the season with West Virginia, which West Virginia, look out. They're playing some dang good football as well. But at this point, it's just like they got one game left. They're going to absolutely destroy West Virginia. They're going to go to the Big 12 Championship, and I think the only argument we can make about them is giving Jacob Rodriguez the Heisman and stay healthy.
That's right. They do only have one game left, right?
Yeah, they've got a bye this next week, and they'll close with West Virginia, and the only goal there, get out of there with a win and don't get hurt.
Yeah, I told you that this was going to be the easiest Texas Tech cover, and it was. This game wasn't even close. I mean, it wasn't fun or really entertaining unless you were a Texas Tech fan, and we all knew how this game would turn out, and it was exactly that, maybe even worse, to be honest. Barrett Morton literally played a half of football. Tech still won by 39, and for most of the game,
they could have won by 70 if they wanted to.
I mean, Mitch Griffiths, their third-string quarterback, played, I think, all of the second half, actually, and the offense still moved the ball well. And again, I don't even think, I keep saying this every damn week, Texas Tech didn't even play their best offensively, and they still just keep moving the football. They keep winning games. But forget about the offense. I mean, this is all about the defense for the Red Raiders. Held UCF to 230 yards total, 1.8 yards per carry. And, of course, our guy Jacob Rodriguez scores another touchdown, hits the Heisman pose, and Joey McGuire said after the game, everybody's talking about quarterbacks for Heisman, so we put him at quarterback today, and he scored a touchdown. So I freaking love it. So, I don't know. Texas Tech, their first 10-win season since 2008, and all 10 of their wins have come by at least 20 points or more. So this team is just on a different level, different planet, whatever you want to say. Right now in the Big 12, there's Texas Tech, and there's everybody kind of fighting for second and third and so forth. So for me, they are clearly the class of the Big 12, and good luck to anybody getting in their way because, I mean, poor West Virginia here in a couple weeks, they're just going to get their ass ran over by the Texas Tech train.
We'll catch up with them on December 6th for the Big 12 championship. Other than that, there's not much left to say about them. They are who they are.
Yeah.
They're good enough to win, not one, not two, they're good enough to get to the national championship game.
They are.
I'm not saying they will, but I think when you look at the current state of college football, the only team that would absolutely terrify me going up against Texas Tech is Ohio State. And I think Ohio State deserves to be the outright favorite to win the national championship. But if you look at how Indiana's playing right now, how Texas A&M's playing right now, like Texas Tech can hang with anybody, and they can beat anybody. Just stay healthy.
Did you see that? It was like a little bowl projection, playoff projection thing. It had Texas Tech and Texas A&M.
I need it.
Oh, my gosh.
I need it.
I would just inject that into my veins if I could. Gosh, that would be such a great game.
Arizona State survives against the surging West Virginia Mountaineers. Buy stock now. Buy stock now and Scotty Fox, baby. Do it.
This was, I don't know. Well, I watched this
Nothing to say?
I actually have a lot to say about this game. Probably more than you would have to say. And this is your team we're talking about. But this was a closer one than we expected. But someone here had the Mountaineers covering.
You did.
And his name was not Jake Brend. It was me. So for as bad as
my underhit.
Yeah. For as bad as West Virginia's defense has been, I thought they really actually played well enough to win the game. They just didn't have the offense, which is weird because Scotty Fox Jr. has been tearing it up as of late, but really not against ASU. I mean, he threw for a ton of yards, don't get me wrong, but there were some mistakes mixed in, and it didn't help.
Yeah, he didn't have a great first half.
It didn't help that West Virginia had just zero help in the run game. I mean, they ran for 68 yards and almost 40 carries, and Rich Rod after the game was just so pissed. Like, people were just asking him questions about the game, and he goes, "We can't win a damn football game if we can't get this much on the ground." And he's right. They could not run the football at all against Arizona State. And I knew Arizona State would win, and they're just simply more talented across the board. Even with Sam Leavitt and Jordan Tyson out, Arizona State at this point in time is a better team than West Virginia. Now, that could change, of course, maybe next year down the road, but not right now. And speaking of Arizona State, how about Jeff Sims? Jeff Sims, he's going to be my monster beast of the week. Beast of the week. Jeff Sims, ladies and gentlemen, may be the best backup in the Big 12, and he continues to win games, which makes 2 in a row for Mr. Sims. 207 passing yards, 3 touchdown passes, 0 turnovers. Also led the team in rushing with 81 yards. You always got to watch out for him when he's running on the ground because he's a dangerous man. Kenny Dillingham said after the game that he has 2 quarterbacks on his roster that can play on Sundays. Between Leavitt and Sims, I think he's right. I mean, he's got really 2 solid options at quarterback, and not many teams can honestly say that in this transfer portal era. So I feel really good about that. Was Arizona State perfect in this game? Not at all, but they continue to win games despite these key injuries. I mean, they're without Sam Leavitt, the Big 12 Player of the Year, in my opinion, who could have been, and Jordan Tyson. So just a credit to Dillingham, his staff. Most importantly, the players like Jeff Sims. And with 2 losses, I know they're really not a factor in the Big 12 title race, but they're technically not out of it just yet. So for us to even say that with the injuries that they've dealt with offensively, to me, is just very incredible and just really shows the job that Kenny and his staff have done this year.
Yeah, it's been a good coaching job, and it's been an unfortunate year for them. It's been impressive what Sims has done in 2 weeks. I don't quite know about NFL. Maybe he's the next
I could see it.
Quarterback turned receiver, something like that. Or I just don't see him as an NFL quarterback, but I could be wrong. I could be wrong. West Virginia, we'll move on. These poor bastards have lost so many running backs. It is unbelievable. They lost Jaheim White, who I think you could argue before the year was the best running back in the conference.
Yeah, you can make that argument.
They lost him way early in the year. Cincy Bowers was their leading rusher yesterday, but they've also lost Dior Hubbard, who's been banged up. He only had 2 carries yesterday. They lost Henderson's the quarterback. They lost Edwards earlier in the year. Do you know who their second leading rusher was yesterday?
Was it Scotty Fox?
No, it was linebacker Curtis Jones Jr. He had 7 carries. They are completely putting things together with duct tape. And I honestly, all jokes aside from my West Virginia stock that I bought earlier this year, I do think Rich Rod has this thing on a good trajectory because they have dealt with so many injuries, and I think they found their quarterback. Fox is going to grow a lot. He's had some moments. He's had some freshman moments too. I like where this West Virginia program's heading in the future.
These last 3 or 4 games, you're right, they've been on an upward trend. I really like, we're not talking about them just getting blown out every single week like we were earlier in the year. We're talking about them actually being competitive in these games and really good. Unfortunately, I don't think it's going to happen against Texas Tech, but the last few weeks I've been really impressed with this team, and I'm very excited to see how they handle this offseason and to see what they look like next year.
Oklahoma State almost wins. They lose their first game by less than 14 points.
Jeez.
First Big 12 game by less than 14 points all season. I did not expect to be as locked into this game as I was, but K-State just could not pull away. And honestly, Oklahoma State had so many opportunities. They got the ball in the red zone a lot. They had a few turnovers that made some key mistakes down in the red zone, but they legitimately gave Kansas State a real scare.
This game was on ESPNU, and it should have been on ESPN The Ocho or ESPN Plus or whatever the hell it is, because it was so damn hard to watch. I know Kansas State won the game, but if there was an option for both teams to lose, I probably would have picked that because neither team looked very good. I mean, Kansas State went up against the worst defense in the Big 12 by far and scored 14 points. And I went and looked back. In the last 2 years in Big 12 play, Oklahoma State has allowed less than 20 points just one time, and that was Saturday against Kansas State. I don't know why this offense is so bad. And now with Jace Brown, I believe he's going to be out for the year. Is that correct? They're going to struggle even more.
On a big catch.
And then you throw in with Dylan Edwards being gone, this offense just looks just depleted. And do you know who the next person that's going to be gone? It's going to be Chris Kleiman. I mean, if he would have lost this one, then he should have been fired on the spot. Oklahoma State turned the ball over 5 times, and Kansas State won by 1 possession. Then you had Kleiman saying, how tough it is to win in Stillwater. And I'm like, dude, have you seen Oklahoma State play in the last 2 years?
2025, brother.
Everyone beats them in Stillwater. And you were talking
Tulsa beat them in Stillwater.
You're talking about underachieving teams in the Big 12. I think Kansas State by far is the biggest underachiever in the conference under Chris Kleiman, and that's a big, big problem for me moving forward. And I don't know, maybe Kansas State should maybe think about bringing in somebody else at this point, because this really feels stale in Manhattan, Kansas right now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen this offseason. I don't know if there's going to be turnover with coaches. I don't know if Avery Johnson's going to move on. It feels like Avery could benefit from a change of scenery.
I think he could.
I think if he went to a second or third tier SEC team, I think he would probably have a pretty good renaissance and give himself a good shot at getting to the NFL. I don't think he can stay at K-State. I know he's the hometown kid. He feels a little bit broken. And this offense, it's not just him either. It's this whole offense. It's the defense has turned things around. Granted, it's not that hard to stop Oklahoma State, but still. This has been an offensive failure, and it falls on the shoulders of Chris Kleiman.
And Matt Wells, their offensive coordinator, he's got to go.
Well, we could have told you that. I can't believe I picked K-State to win the Big 12 with Matt Wells as their offensive coordinator. That's a take I'd like to have back.
Yeah.
All right, Aiden, we kept you a little long. That was maybe the longest we've talked about games all year.
We had a lot to say.
On the so-called slowest Saturday of the year so far.
It was a big football weekend, and you know how I knew it was a big football weekend? I saw a picture of Aiden actually from Jacqueline at the Friendsgiving party, and like everybody is just having a great time in the picture, just like laughing and drinking, and Aiden's eyes are just glued to the Ole Miss Florida game.
Yeah,
they were just glued to that TV. Like nobody else in the picture was just watching that TV, but Aiden just couldn't get his eyes off of that damn TV. I thought it was hilarious. It really made my night.
What do you do?
Well,
all right,
we bring in esteemed producer Aiden Wyatt at the 50-minute mark for our random Big 12 quarterback.
This quarterback played in 14 games over 2 seasons where he threw for nearly 3,000 yards and 21 touchdowns while compiling just a 4-10 record over that span. His route was SEC JUCO to the Big 12.
Jacob Park,
baby.
Bang!
Oh, wow.
Bang!
You didn't have to think about that one. That's the
Bang!
second.
That was good.
That's the second week in a row we picked an Iowa State quarterback.
Yeah,
I'm running out of quarterbacks, man.
Get over it, Duke.
Gosh.
That was easy.
Boy, that
My next hint was going to be that he got Wally pipped, but
I mean, Kyle Kemp kind of did a little bit. But yeah. God, it's just amazing to me they went from Jacob Park and then you go to Brock Purdy the next year after that.
With Kyle Kemp and Zeb Nolan in between.
Yeah.
Oh,
look at these helmets though for Iowa State.
Those are so good.
These are some of my favorites.
Actually, they should bring. If you're going to have to wear the eye block, I mean, I think you should wear that one.
I agree. Well, thanks for the layup, Aiden. I needed some confidence. It's now time for our Big 12 Top 5, brought to you by the place where you can always find a good time, and that's Whiskey River.
Looking for a good time? Thought so. Whiskey River is just the place. We've got the booze, the food, the vibe, and the amazing rooftop patio. The only thing missing is you. Whiskey River.
Whiskey River always has a good time if you're looking for one. Great food, cold beer locations in Ankeny and Ames. I love Whiskey River. I could go for one of their whiskey steakhouse burgers. That is a dang good burger. I'll start with my top 5. Unchanged in the top 3, Texas Tech, BYU, and Utah all completely take care of their business. All blowouts. That remains unchanged. I then move Houston up. I didn't feel like it was appropriate to subtract them from my top 5 while they were on a bye. So I moved them up to 4. And then I was down between the in-state teams for the 5th spot. And I'd go with Arizona over Arizona State. I think their win over Cincinnati was more impressive than what Arizona State did this week. And I think right now, I know this game is in Tempe to end the year. I think right now I'd pick Arizona to win that game. And that was kind of my tiebreaker for my power rankings.
I would agree with that last part you said. I think if Arizona and Arizona State were playing today, I would definitely pick Arizona to win that game. So my list is going to look pretty similar here. Again, same top 3. Texas Tech at 1, that's a given. BYU at 2, of course. Utah at 3, I think you're right. The top 3 just in this conference are just set, and I think it's going to stay that way for the rest of the year. I have Arizona State at 4. I bumped them up a spot after last week. I don't know, still winning. Do I feel good about them remaining in my top 5 at the end of the year? Probably not. But they're still playing pretty damn good football, even with Jeff Sims at the quarterback. Houston, back in my top 5 after the fallout. So, I don't know. I think you can make a case for Arizona, too, there at number 5. I don't want to leave Houston out, though. That's my problem. And I don't think Arizona State deserves to be out just yet either. I think last week I had Cincy at number 5 and they dropped out. That's why I had at 5. So Houston's back in my top 5.
Last week on Big 12 Survivor, we had exactly 2 people eliminated.
Woo!
That's it. But we had a lot of people scared. A lot of people were scared about K-State getting knocked off in Stillwater because we had 70-plus people pick that.
Gosh.
We had 2 soldiers go down with Cincinnati this week. Ooh. If you make it if you've made it to this point, you'll be getting an email Sunday night from biggerthan12@gmail.com. Be on the lookout for that. It's looking like we're going to head into the bull pick'em season because we got a lot of people still a lot of people still kicking. So
I still have not used BYU or Utah yet. I've used just about everybody else, so I still feel pretty good. Next week, I think, is going to be my toughest week to pick. But if I can get through next week, I feel good about making it through the Big 12 championship game.
Oklahoma State still plays. So
who do they play?
Oh, let's pull it up. They play at Central Florida.
I don't know about that one. I don't know if you can just ride Oklahoma State anymore. That's what I'm saying.
Man. All right. I'm excited now. I'm excited to see who everybody goes with.
Yeah. It's gonna get interesting.
All right, Aiden, get back in here. Can't escape him for long. He's got our Iowa trivia question.
Which of these athletes is not from Iowa? Joe Burrow, Bob Feller, Kurt Warner, or Bob Gibson?
Oh, shit.
I know this one. That's on you, or that's all you, Duke.
I know it's not Kurt Warner and it's not Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is from Ames, right? And then Kurt Warner, I know, is from Iowa. He went to Northern Iowa. What were the two Bobs? I don't know the two Bobs.
Bob Gibson and Bob Feller.
Oh, shit.
Are you familiar with both? I can say the sport if you need it.
Gibson was baseball, correct?
Both were baseball. Yep.
Both were baseball. Okay.
Yeah.
You're just straight up guessing on this one.
This is just a toss-up for me. I'm going to say it's Bob Feller.
Wrong.
Bob Gibson.
Damn
Bob
it.
Gibson.
Bob Feller, the heater from Van Meter.
Shit.
That's true.
You're right. I remember hearing that. Damn it.
Yep.
All right, Aiden. I thought you were going to get real tricky. Is Fred Hoiberg from Iowa? He's born in Nebraska. So I thought you were going to throw a curveball.
If I would have done Fred Hoiberg, I don't think I could have done Joe Burrow.
That's fair. Okay.
So I was kind of like sticking it to,
gotcha.
Born in Iowa.
Right. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
At least
good
I knew
work,
two
Aiden.
of.
Thank you.
I knew two of the four that were from Iowa. That's close enough.
Let's pick some games. I had a 3-2 week. Duke a 4-1 week. Woo. Bigger than 12 just keeps winning. If you're not riding with us by now, it's too late to hop on the train because we can only stay this far above the green for so long. I'm at 36-23. You're at 35-24. So if you've been following along with our picks all year, you were doing well. So
I feel pretty good.
If you've stayed with us this long, just stay on the train. But if you haven't stayed with us all year, I wouldn't hop on now because this week is brutal. I was writing down these lines. There wasn't a single game that I felt like I loved. There's a couple I like. There's a couple leans I've got, but we start in Ames for Senior Day at Jack Trice Stadium as the Iowa State Cyclones host the Jayhawks of Kansas. 11 a.m. on FS1. The Cyclones right now favored by 3.5 points. The total is 53.5.
Oh, gosh. I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, Iowa State's longest losing streak in the Big 12 to one team is against Kansas, I believe.
Yep, 3 in a row.
3 in a row. Senior Day in Ames. I like the early kick. Kansas' defense is not good at all. You know what? Damn it. I'm going to go Iowa State to cover that spread. I don't know if I feel great about it. What was the over-under again?
53.5.
Ooh. I might push the over on that. But you know what? Damn it. I'm just going to take Iowa State to win that game.
I don't like any side of this. I don't like the over. I don't like the under. I don't like Kansas. I don't like Iowa State.
I think you could maybe push the over on that game if you had to pick between that and the under. But I'm taking Iowa State. I'm taking Iowa State.
I think this is the game where Iowa State figures out the offense. But it wouldn't shock me whatsoever if they don't. And if they don't, the over's not hitting. But at the same time, if they don't figure out the offense, they're probably not winning the game. So I'm just going to play it safe. I'll just pick Iowa State. I don't feel great about it, but we'll both be on the Cyclones. Oh, that's
high on the Cyclones, like normal.
Next up, this is the TNT game of the week. Weekly shout out to TNT and the great work that they do. This game's at noon in Tucson. Baylor at Arizona.
Oh.
The home team is favored by 6.5. The total is 62.5.
Jeez. I took the over in the Utah Baylor game, and that worked like a charm.
That did work like a charm. I thought I was a genius taking the under, and I was dead wrong.
Say 6.5. Arizona's favored by.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if I trust Arizona in that at all. But you know what? Damn it. Screw it. I'm taking the over again. I'm just going to keep playing this Baylor over thing. I'm going to take the over in that game.
This feels like the classic get off the mat Baylor game. But it's also going to be on the West Coast. It's probably going to be hot. I
Good
could
weather.
I could see them rolling over and dying right away. But yeah, I'm kind of with you. I don't completely trust Arizona yet, even though we said all those nice things about them.
If it was a 3-point spread, I would take them. I don't feel comfortable at 6.
Give me the over 2, I guess.
Oh my God, you shouldn't copy my picks.
No, my gut tells me to take Baylor, and I can't do it. I can't take Dave Aranda right now. This next one's a doozy. I don't know how we're gonna handle this one. Kansas State at Utah. This game is at 3:00 on what channel is it? On ESPN2. Utah favored by guess how much?
Is it at Kansas State?
No, it's at home. It's
shit.
It's in Salt Lake City.
I'm gonna guess 9.5.
Wrong. 16.5.
Oh shit.
16.5. The total is at 54.5.
I think I'm just gonna take the under in that game. I'll be taking a lot of over-under. I'm going to take the under in that game.
I should have gone first because that's what I was going to take, and I'm not going to copy you. I'm not going to copy you again. Oh, man. Maybe I should just copy. Stay ahead in the standings. That's one way to do it.
That's a high spread. God, that's a...
Yeah, it's too many points. Whew. But it also wouldn't shock... Like, Utah has killed everybody they've played so far that's not Texas Tech or BYU. And Kansas State looks dead in the water.
I don't know. That's a lot of points. If it was 10, I would say Utah. But 16, it was 16.5. I mean,
yeah,
God,
just give me
dang.
K-State. Why not?
You're going to take Kansas State.
Yeah. Lose this game by 14 and make me look smart, but I probably should just take the under. I'll take K-State. Oh, man. This next game... This one's on Fox. TCU at Houston, 3:00. Houston favored by 2.5 at home. 54.5 is the total. This is my only one that I love. My only pick that I love this week.
I'm gonna take an upset here. I'm gonna take TCU. I think I would
get
take
off the
TCU.
mat. Didn't you just say you thought they'd finish 6-6?
I did. Probably still do. But if I'm going to take a flyer on an upset this week, I think that's the game. Let's face it, Houston has no home field advantage.
That's right.
The worst home advantage in all of the Big 12. In fact, you might see more TCU fans there than Houston fans.
They're sneaky not playing great football as of late. Like, they squeaked by UCF. They lost at home to West Virginia. Like, they're not playing great. I'm still going to take Houston because I don't think the public has respected them at all this year. And these have been the spots where the line comes out and I'm so confused why they're only favored by 1 at home against Arizona? Why are they only favored by 1 on the road at UCF? And both those games have been dicey, but I've come out on the right side of them, and I'm going to go down swinging with Willie Fritz.
All right. So see, we got two.
So we're going head to head finally.
Well, the Arizona, or no, we played the Kansas State Utah game. We both had different.
Yeah, we're not going head to head on that one.
That's
though.
true.
We can still both hit, and then we close the game of the week. BYU at Cincinnati, 7:00, Big Fox. I'll be home from Jack Trice Stadium in time to watch this one, and I am excited. BYU favored by 2 points on the road. The total's 53.5.
Give me BYU.
Same. Easy. BYU, no hesitation. The Cougs are going in and winning this game.
Yeah.
But it's still a scary spot. Nipper's going to be on fire.
It feels like 8.5, maybe even 7.5. I'd probably say Cincinnati, but at that, I got to take BYU.
Nippert Stadium is going to be just jumping. But I trust Bear Bachmeier and company to go. I think they are a notch ahead of Cincinnati. I think they're good enough to go and physically dominate them.
If Cincinnati would have just won against Arizona,
this would be
a massive, massive game for the Big 12. But now it just kind of feels like, it's going to be tough for BYU, but they'll get it done. You know what I mean? So it changes the whole perspective of this game for me. Still going to be a good game, though.
All right. Fun show. Next week's a really good week in the conference, I think. It's a few intriguing games that I think can entertain the people. So be here next Sunday as we react to, the second to last week of the Big 12 slate. Somehow, we're already at that point. Cheers. Enjoy the beast. Enjoy the beast. This has been Bigger Than 12 here in the Channel Seed Studios. We will see you next Sunday.